I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it. When you think about money right now, what happens in your body? Not what do you think. What happens? Does your chest tighten? Does your stomach do that thing? Does a voice in the back of your head immediately start calculating and scanning, checking whether you're okay? Even if your bills are paid, even if you have savings, even if by a reasonable measure, you're fine. Because here's what I want to talk to you about. Most money stress is not about money. Money's just where the stress lives. The actual root goes back way further than the last bank statement, much further than your current salary. And if you ever found yourself anxious about money in the moment when you rationally had no reason to be, what I'm about to share with you is the most important thing you will hear today. Because until you find the root, you can earn more money, save more, budget better, learn every financial strategy ever written, and the stress will still be right there, waiting. I'm Jerry S. Lin with the 5-Second Reflex. If therapy, willpower, and self-help haven't worked, this channel exists for you. We go down to the root of why change never sticks and give you the tools to make it permanent, so you can finally live the life that you want. Here's what most financial advice gets completely wrong. It assumes money stress is a math problem. Most income, more income in, less going out, stress goes down. And for some people, in some circumstances, yeah, that's true. But for most of the people watching this, you already know this isn't the full story. Because maybe you've gotten the raise, you may have hit that savings goal, you may have paid off all that debt, and the anxiety did not leave. It just found a new number to worry about. That's not financial failure. That's a nervous system running a file. Your gut brain processes about 1 billion bits of sensory data every second. Your conscious mind, it only handles about 10. So the anxiety you feel around money, it's not being generated by the bank account. It's being generated by a file in your gut brain is running on autopilot. A file that was installed long before you had a bank account, long before you earned your first dollar, long before you understood what money even was. And that file has a very specific message, something like, resources are limited, danger is possible, don't relax. And it runs the message regardless of what the balance actually says, because the gut brain does not check the balance. It checks the file. I want to tell you about something so small it's barely worth mentioning. And yet it ran my relationship with my money for decades. When I was a kid, every time our family went to the restaurant, my dad would open the menu and without hesitation, without thinking, he would go straight to the right side. The prices. He always looked at the price before anything else. And then slowly, he would carefully work his way to the left to figure out what was worth ordering. My dad came to America with nothing. I want you to understand what that means. Not a little, nothing. He worked day and night for decades, and we had everything we needed. Always a roof, always food, always clothes. We lived like the next bill might be the one that changed everything. So instead of getting individual scoops for every kid, 7 people shared 1 banana split for a birthday party. Instead of the thing I actually wanted at McDonald's, I got the 39-cent hamburger. And what I want to be clear, I did not understand any of this. I was just a kid watching my dad navigate a menu. My nervous system didn't know we were okay. My nervous system just filed the behavior. Scan from the right, price first, be careful, is it worth it? Rep by rep until it was automatic. And here's the part that still gets me when I say it out loud. I was 19 years old, making $80,000 a year, and I was still reading the menu from the right to the left. Still feeling anxiety, quiet anxiety on a date when somebody ordered something expensive. Still scanning, still bracing, still managing. I hit 6 figures, still scanning. I hit 7 figures, still scanning. Whether I had $1,000 in the bank or 10 million, the feeling in my body was identical. There's not enough. Hold on. Don't relax. Something could go wrong. The money changed. The file did not, because the file was never about money. The file was about survival. About a man who came from nothing and built something and made absolutely sure his children never forgot how close to the edge they could be. The lesson was love. and I absorbed it before I had a way to evaluate it. And I carried it with me for 30 years as if it were a fact about the world. It was not a fact about the world. It was a fact about my father's world. And I inherited it without knowing I inherited it at all. Here's how money stress gets installed. When you're young, your gut brain is building a model of the world. How does it build that model? Through repetition, through the emotional charge attached to what's observed, through what people it depends on for survival demonstrate about how things are. So 7 to 10 repetitions and something becomes filed as truth. Not considered truth, felt truth. The kind that lives in the body. So if you grew up watching money be a source of stress, conflict, scarcity, or fear, your gut brain filed that. Money equals danger. Money equals instability. Money equals the thing we never quite have enough of. And then you grew up and the circumstances changed, but that file, it never updated. Because the gut brain does not update files through information, it updates them through repetition, through new experiences, so you can understand intellectually that you're fine. But your head brain can only run the numbers and confirm we're okay. Your gut brain is still feeling that old file, still bracing, still scanning the right side of the menu, still living inside someone else's survival story. And you feel the stress. It's not irrational, it's not weakness. It's a perfectly logical response to a file that was installed when you were small and afraid and had no power to choose otherwise. The root is not the budget, the root is the file. Okay, stay to the end of this video because at the end, I have a free 10-minute assessment that will show you exactly which of your 4 core patterns is the one generating your money stress at the root. Whether it's a survival-based scarcity belief, a core identity wound around deserving, or a family pattern absorbed without knowing it. This assessment pinpoints it. 10 minutes, free, specific for you, my gift to you for staying to the end. So I'll give you that link at the end. Stay right here. 3 moves coming. 3 moves, and these work at the root, not just at the surface. Move number 1, separate the file from the fact. The next time money stress fires, do not immediately try to solve it with numbers. Instead, ask, is this fact or is this file? See, I have a fact. I have a real financial problem that requires a real solution. The file? I'm feeling anxiety about money in the moment where the numbers do not actually support the level of alarm that I'm feeling. Just naming which one it is gives your head brain a seat at the table, the old story running underneath it. Move number 2. Trace that file back 1 generation. Ask yourself, where did I first learn that money felt like this? Not as therapy, as archaeological. What did you observe about money growing up? Do you remember how old you were? What room were you in? What was the emotional charge in that room when money was discussed or avoided or fought about? Whose survival pattern are you still running as your own truth? Because when you can see the file belongs to someone else's experience, it stops being your identity. It starts being something you inherited, and what you inherited can be returned or at least examined before you pass it on again. And move number 3, create deliberate counter evidence. The file updates through experience, not understanding. So once a week, make a money decision from choice instead of fear. It doesn't have to be big. Order what you actually want. Make a small investment in something you've been postponing because it didn't feel safe. Let yourself relax around money in a small moment without immediately calculating whether you deserve it. Because each one of those moments, that's a rep. And your gut brain will file each of those reps as I relaxed around money. Nothing terrible happened. Slowly, the new file starts to compete with the old one, and the anxiety starts to have less evidence to pull from. This is how you change it at the root, 1 piece of counter evidence at a time. See, I want to be clear about something. My dad's behavior was not a mistake. It was wisdom that kept a family alive. He came from nothing. He built something, and he made absolutely sure his children understood the weight of that. Scanning the right side of the menu was love. It was survival translated into a lesson. By recognizing I was safe enough now to build a relationship with money, one that honored where I came from without being trapped by it. If money makes your body tighten when the numbers say you're okay, you're not irrational. You're not bad with money. You're someone whose nervous system learned a very specific lesson about resources a long time ago, and that lesson has been running your autopilot ever since. The stress is not about your bank account. The stress is about the file that was installed when you were small and dependent, and there was no framework to evaluate what you were absorbing. And that file, it can be updated, not by earning more, not by saving more, not by that external number that finally becomes large enough to quiet the internal alarms, because the alarm was never triggered by a number. It was triggered by a file, and that file lives in your body. The body can be retrained, rep by rep, one deliberate act of financial presence at a time, one moment of noticing the scan and choosing a different move, one conscious recognition that scarcity was real for someone you love, and that you are allowed to inherit the wisdom without carrying the weight. That is the work. That is where the root actually is. And when you address it there, the stress finally has somewhere to go. So here's your gift. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or click the link below. It takes you straight to the free 10-minute assessment that identifies which of your 4 core patterns is in the root of your money stress. Because when you know which file's running you, you know where to actually work. 10 minutes, free, no fluff. Grab it and let's address this at the root together. And if this video names something you have been feeling for years without the words, like it and subscribe. When you subscribe, the algorithm puts this in front of someone else who's also been white-knuckling their way through financial anxiety without ever knowing where it actually came from. Let's get it to them. If you're tired of change that never lasts, you're in the right place. We teach you how to uncover those hidden patterns quietly running your life, retrain them at that root, and finally make change that actually sticks. Subscribe. I'm Jerry S. Lin. 5-second reflex. I'll see you in the next one.